Okay, so we'll look at Ghost Recon Wildlands at 21:9 and specifically my thoughts on the game. I really love what Ubisoft has tried to do here. Yes, it most certainly is far from perfect, but regardless, all in all, I've been pleasantly surprised by this game's release. Anyway, before I go into my full thoughts on the game, if you want to see my full technical breakdown of this title, looking at its ultra-wide support, then check out that video linked in the description or head over to my website and it'll be there. So if you've been under a rock, this game is set in Bolivia where the drug cartels have become so powerful they pretty much run the entire country. Think Narcos if you want a good comparison. You're one member in a squad of the best US soldiers sent in to take out these drug kingpins and try and restore the country to a stable state. And to do this you have a huge open world to explore, and I do mean huge, it really does feel massive. There are lots of side missions which are actually fun to do, you have a massive number of weapons and vehicles to utilize, and there is significant weapon and character customization as well. You can also play the whole thing with up to 3 players as part of a 4-man squad, or you can leave the other 3 members of the squad to be AI controlled, and they are generally pretty good, but I'll explain my gripes with them in a bit. Another fantastic feature is the day and night cycle, which goes around regardless of what you're doing, and playing the same missions again after doing them in the beta was amazing how different they felt, tackling them in completely different times of day. It gives a twist to the gameplay that is no gimmick. So on the point of the story, it's compelling and genuinely interesting. Yes, you are very much a grizzled, serious soldier who doesn't really have any character depth, but the missions you go through and the enemies you meet are far more interesting than yourself, with unique personalities and traits. I haven't been bored by any missions yet. The world also is beautiful. Even on these lowest possible settings I'm having to run at, it looks gorgeous. You have rolling lush hills to swampy dense jungle to dead flat salt pans, and it really creates a beautifully diverse backdrop to everything you do. Traversing this great expanse can be done on foot, by car, or by air. Like I said in my beta coverage of the game, the driving is, though, unfortunately terrible. Nothing fun to be found there. It's a case of it works, and that's it. You're never going to be driving just for the sake of it, because it's got no character to it, no physics or anything. Helicopters and planes are certainly better, but they still lack depth. Again, Ubisoft has taken the easy route and done the bare minimum with vehicles in this. However, what has clearly had a lot of time spent on it is the quality of customization to firstly your character, with everything you wear, your facial features, etc., allowing you to create your own soldier to play as. And on top of this, like I said, there are a huge number of weapons to find and unlock in the game, and every single one can be customized fantastically, with the classic Ghost Recon animations of all the weapon components sliding out when swapping one bit in for another. You can get upgrades, things like better scopes, better barrels, silencers, etc., and it is fantastic fun. You also unlock new weapons when completing bosses. For example, once you complete the Yuri mission at the start. I can't quite remember the full name of the husband and wife torturers, but yeah, when you complete that early on mission, you get the his and her AK-47s, which are both fantastic fun, and it adds another level of quality. The weapons match the characters' personalities, and it's a fun twist on classic weaponry. You also aren't given these weapons for free just by leveling up. You have to explore the world and find intel that reveals the locations of weapons in the world, at which point you can then collect them and unlock the part. On this tangent, side missions are nicely done. You need to collect things like fuel and food drops for the rebels, and by doing this you get points that allow you to unlock skills for extra stuff, like access to C4, thermal vision, steadier aim, etc. And it's a nice way of slowly unlocking skills, as it's up to you if you want to focus on unlocking something or not. The map also does not suffer, well, not at the start anyway, from the typical Ubisoft icon issue. Because of the need to find intel in the world before stuff shows up, you will flesh out the map yourself with points of interest. It isn't just filled to the brim from the get-go, which I really appreciate. It does push you to explore and not just go from point to point mindlessly. That said, it is still a ways off from the quality of world exploration design from titles like The Witcher 3. Now, a big point to discuss is the teammates. The option to play with friends is a lovely idea, and one that would be fantastic when it can actually be organized, but as we all know, getting all 4 of you to play at the same time is near impossible, and so the average person will be playing with AI controlling the other squad members, and I'm happy to say that in general they have been coded very well and contribute solidly to the gameplay, though at times a bit too well. So the first and foremost use for them is to use the sync shot ability to have them take out enemies in unison, which is bloody fantastic and looks ridiculously slick when pulled off right. However, this ability, I have to admit, feels extremely overpowered because you can obliterate a whole base of enemies without ever moving from your drone if you wanted. The cooldown on the power is minimal and can be upgraded to get extremely fast. And yeah, I do feel that whilst it's epic, it does feel like it could break the game too much. Now, the other important bit is the question of, can the AI conform to stealth? Because having 3 other members moving about while you're trying to sneak around sounds obviously like a massively easy thing to go wrong. And honestly, it does go wrong a lot. I often have them give away my position and initiate a massive firefight because they aren't hidden like I am. Now, yes, you can control them, giving them directions, etc., but it is clunky to do it. I thought it would get easier in time, but I've played a good few number of hours now, and it has remained an effort to tell them where to go and what to do, because they don't really execute movement orders precisely how I want them to do. And I must admit that I treat the squad members as background noise now. I use them simply for the sync shot and helping me out in a huge firefight, which, by the way, they are very good at killing enemies. But the rest of the time, I just ignore them and let them hang back. A point to note, things like getting into vehicles, they'll just teleport into the vehicle with you, so you don't need to wait for them to find their way to you before you take off, which is lovely, because that's always an effort when they don't quite manage to work out how to get into your vehicle and you're just sitting there pissed off. Now, something that did get to me a lot whilst playing was the inability to save when you wanted. The reliance on auto-saving is annoying, and when you're trying to enter a base silently, one screw-up, which is pretty easy on hard difficulty, means you have to fight your way out of the situation instead of just jumping back to your previous save and approaching the situation differently. Every big open-world title has this ability, so it feels lacking not having it here. Look at The Witcher, Skyrim, Fallout, to name a few. What is lovely is you can travel around the entire world at any time you want. I grabbed a helicopter and plane and went for a fly around the entire map very early on, and it is a gorgeous world. Seriously, it's a beautiful recreation of Bolivia, and the environment is bloody mesmerizing to travel through, a massive plus to the game's design. On this point of being able to go anywhere in the game, I decided to try out completing other missions around the world instead of just doing those handed you at the start, and there are 2 points to this. Firstly, it seems that the way this game is set up is very cool. Every section of the map has separate bosses that have their own stories to complete in order to kill them off, in order to work your way through the spider web of cartel members before you get to the main man himself. And this means you can jump from one story to another, and it works very nicely. I'm not sure quite if the main arcing story limits exactly what missions you can do, but I did find I could do a multitude of story missions all over the place at the same time, and I love that. Now, the second point I wanted to make was that by going to another part of the world to complete a mission, I was looking for a more difficult challenge because the early missions were just too easy. And I have to admit, whilst the game does throw curveballs in to change things up, like jammers to stop you using the drone, I still find the game is designed too easily. I think the biggest issue is the amount of help the game gives you. It goes so far as to tell you a rough area on the minimap as to where an enemy is before you just pinpoint him. And it's just overall too easy. Now, I know you can tweak things to get rid of the HUD, for example, but the issue is that the way a game has been designed to play, first and foremost, means that manually trying to customize it yourself means you likely will suffer from missing things in the game simply due to bad game design, assuming you will see what they want you to see in the minimap or through a wall. It's an issue I'm not surprised this game has run into because Ubisoft is infamously known for having their titles be too easy, too hand-holding. They are trying to make it too accessible, allowing anyone and their dog to be able to complete the game, and it takes away from the quality of the gameplay, which is a shame because this game has fantastic potential. It just hands too many things to you on a plate. All in all, I really am enjoying the game though, and I do recommend it a lot. It is a fantastic open world, and the gameplay, whilst with its issues, feels like it plays notably different to other shooters, with the first and third person view switching, and attention to detail and fun story that all comes together to create a genuinely fun experience. Just be prepared for being given too many abilities like seeing through the walls that just make you unstoppable. Anyway, if you want to see my technical breakdown of the game, then check that video out, linked in the description, or just head over to my channel page or website and it'll be there. So I hope that gives you a better idea of what this game has to offer at 21x9. Give this video a like if you found it helpful, and subscribe for future info. For any other games at 21x9, head over to my channel or the WideAsFcuk website. Hopefully I've covered it. If I haven't, then leave a comment down below and I'll try and cover it. And if you'd like to support the channel, the links to my Patreon page are in the description, and Amazon affiliate links are there too. See you later.
It's hard to tell from the intel. Kinda looks like he doesn't have enough pilots for all the work he's got.
Especially considering his side operation.
For a guy who's got a reputation for being a drunk, he's handling the logistics pretty well. He's not putting much effort into making his little airline look legit, but managing all these flights, aircraft repair, the business side of human trafficking, he's doing all right.
I hate smart drunks. They make us sloppy drunks look bad.
Spotting another Tango.
Target spotted. HVT spotted. Looks
Here's
like a
target
top
number 5.
Sicario. Time to have a chat with him about his career choices. I'm moving to position. Eyes on the target. Roger that. Target marked. Good to go. Fuck. We rattled somebody's cage. Their lieutenant's running away.
Coopere todo saldrá bien.
We done? Shit, kinda got
There's
all
only one
excited
fucking
there.
reason I haven't beat every one of your teeth out of your... I'll fly.
All right, I'm in. check this spot out for intel? Shit, we got company. Eyes on a narco with a submachine gun at the entrance to the camp.
Deploying drone. I see a second target. I got a third.
They're gonna spot you. Back up. I'm getting a position. Need to get to a better position.
He makes 5.
Target marked. Roger. Target acquired.
We've got a location on a warehouse where El Cerebro does most of his high-end
Bad guys in
design
the
work.
area.
Sweep the building,
I got
grab
one
any
narco
useful intel you can
inside the
carry,
warehouse.
and torch the rest.
I got 2 Sicarios
Tell me where.
close to the container.
Hostile down.
We rattled somebody's